Fantastic.
Okay.
Is this like Noor Hidayah?
Yes, should be lah, should be. Should be the Nur Hidayah that you think it is.
Wow. She managed to make herself unbusy herself to watch this, huh?
I'm busy yourself to watch this.
She's nearby.
Okay, anyway, we are live.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are live. One, are you okay on your side?
Give me a moment.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, but it should be okay.
Is there a lot of setup? Wow.
I'm not sure for his side. Is everything okay?
Okay.
Technical wise.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm good. I
Ready?
will record.
Yeah, start recording. And whenever you're ready, you can start.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tertiary 2020 Chat. Where are the jobs? Where we have a conversation with the professionals in our community across various fields and industry. And today we are glad to have with us our professional of the day, Farah Sanwari. Hi, Farah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
Good.
How was Raya?
Plain simple, very good. Very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of miss Ramadan more than.
Great. So for those of you, just a quick introduction about Farah Sanwari. She is a social innovation leader with a keen interest in sustainable development and learning communities. She is currently a freelance consultant working in the areas of international development, sustainability, and foresight strategy. Big words. We're going to ask her what are them.
Yeah.
What do they mean? She was formerly the executive director of Sustainable Living Labs, or some of you know as SL2, a social innovation lab that develops innovative solutions for organizations and community for a sustainable future. So, Farah, tell us more. What do you do as a social innovation consultant?
Right. So it's a struggle to find the name for it because over the years you develop like expertise in several areas, in many areas, in fact, that you don't know what to label yourself eventually. There isn't a job that you kind of craft your own job scope. You kind of craft your own job title. So I've already given myself like for this organization, I call myself like partnership catalyst. Another one I just call myself like a foresight strategist, foresight catalyst. I don't know, whatever you can call it. But essentially, I think at the end of the day, my job is to solve problems and to solve people's problems, solve our problems, and also to bring people to solve problems together. So yep. I think, that's generally what I do. And the area of expertise that I have developed over the years would be in sustainability. 7-8 years of like working in the area of environmental, social, and economic sustainability, and also in like many different strategies or frameworks on to help people understand complex problems, to help people solve and innovate towards sustainable solutions. So
Yeah. How was your journey like? Previously, we spoke with Mr. Alwi Hafiz about sustainability. For yourself, how was your journey like, and when did you realize that sustainability is the thing that you want to go into?
Right. So my background is in industrial design, as in like I studied industrial design back in university in NUS. And back then there was and this was like 2012, 2013. And as a designer, you kind of know that your future, if you follow the trajectory of where designers would go, you'll be designing products with like Philips, Sony, all these product companies, whether appliances or furniture, whatever that could be, right? But I do feel that design is more widespread and that is far greater than that. And of course, products are always designed to fail at some point. And so I was very, very intrigued by it. And I was like, okay, no, I don't want to be in this field. But at the same time, innovation is very important. And so I did it for my thesis really. I helped Sustainable Living Lab in whatever capacity I had in my final year, and eventually got hired there. But essentially, the process of innovation is far greater than just building products. It's also about, thinking about it creatively and looking at the system and the whole maybe value chain of how things are produced. So it's a very important part of living. So that's why I joined Sustainable Living Lab and built my career from there, diving into sustainability.
Yeah. And if for example, for those youth who are watching this, who are interested in also putting themselves in sustainable space, right, in the space of sustainability, how can we do that? What are the so-called the fields that we can study, or the things that we can do so that we eventually be able to get into this sustainability work?
I get that question a lot, especially from the younger ones who are like, hey, Farah, I'm studying business, but I really I like the environment and I want to be part of it. And I'm like, actually, anything that you study, as long as you have that mindset on solving problems and towards sustainability, right, is actually very valuable. So even if you are a finance person, but you think that you will start to look at things a bit differently once you care about how sustainability is supposed to be. So I would put it as like, anything that you do is good, as long as you put you have some idea as to what sustainability really is. And then to get started on it, start volunteering for organizations, start talking to people who are activists or advocates, academics, people who are very well informed about sustainability.
Because you yourself also you involved in FiTree, a Muslim environmental advocacy group that you co-founded in 2014, and you also were involved in the Climate Conversation, a non-profit with a mission to grow the level of commitment in Singapore to care for the environment and fight climate change. So do we need to be green or environmentally cautious for us to get into sustainability? Is that required?
It would be good to build your social capital around that. But also, it's not just about the people you meet, but what you learn from each other. And it's not just absorbing from people, you're also reflecting and you're building on that knowledge with each other. So it's a growing community, it's a growing knowledge space. So that's why you have to be plugged in, even though it's just, so I have a job, but I also am a volunteer for all these organizations so that I can keep myself updated and abreast of all the issues.
Yeah. And how do you balance that? Because one side you have your freelancing work as a professional sustainability consultant. At the same time, you're also volunteering your expertise in volunteering organizations like FiTree and Climate Conversation. How do you balance both, or are they complementing one another?
It's hard. Frankly, it's very hard to balance because, and to be honest, FiTree is on a hold right now because of a lot of complications and, not exactly complications, but like really trying to balance, right? And then you try to prioritize as well. What I find most helpful is if whatever that I do gets to be linked to another. So if I were to work with, like currently I'm working for Second News, it's a project, as a project manager that manages innovation across 5 countries on plastic waste, ocean plastic waste. Then I could also bring innovation labs that I know of that I'm working with right now, and I can just bring them in a project, like have it aligned. And this helped, like I had a first taste of it when I was doing FiTree work and Sustainable Living Lab work in 2014 and 15. And then we had Repair Ramadan as a project. So we were doing Repair Kopitiam under Sustainable Living Lab. And I was also a volunteer with FiTree. And so we had FiTree and Sustainable Living Lab going hand in hand. There are creative ways to do it, but just try lor.
I think you also try to make them complementary to one another, meaning basically they are on the area of sustainability. They are not so far off in terms of both your professional work and also your volunteering volunteering platforms, right? They are kind of on the same area of sustainability, social innovation. I think that helps, don't you think?
I also don't think they are. So to me, the end goal is more important than the the designated work or the dichotomy between that.
Mm.
So sometimes people say, okay, this is work and this is volunteer. This is private sector, this is public sector, this is people sector, this is the NGO sector. I think that the collaboration between all these different entities is essential in trying to make real transformation out there. And so I try to aggregate these entities together to collaborate on projects together. So that ends up being a very meaningful project with better impact, hopefully.
Great. How this COVID-19 outbreak affect your field in when we talk about social innovation or sustainability? Any particular impact out of this COVID-19 outbreak in Singapore to the sustainability discussion?
I don't think so, because this is like, it's only been how many months, right, since COVID hit us. And I imagine that budgets have already been passed. Financial capital or the money, the capital flows have already been ascertained for like projects for 2020. And for the past few years, there's been much capital flowing into Southeast Asia and addressing sustainability issues, particularly in Indonesia for plastic waste, because a lot of countries have made those kind of commitments. And so since money has already flowed, the projects are not affected. I mean, we have to find creative ways of solving it. But in terms of like hiring, in fact, I was hired during my COVID period for some projects. Yeah, so that just reflects a particular, not just the industry is not going to collapse or it's not going to find itself obsolete. It's just going to pivot from here into another, because impact has always been something that the industry has been trying to go for and had already been going for. So it's just, we just have to pivot from there, and find creative ways of solving it.
Do you think that this particular field will be more emphasis post-COVID? We'll talk more about sustainability. We'll talk more about how being innovative socially, or it will just basically it will remain the same like before.
I think definitely it will pivot because you can see that people are more introspective. People are more mindful of what's happening in society, in environment, and so there is a calling for more work that is meaningful and purposeful. So and already there was a trend before COVID. There was already a trend of meaningful work, finding meaningful work, rather than just jumping into an industry that's going to make a lot of money or something like that. So it doesn't quite gel. People were asking for like, I want to do sustainability work. Is it only sustainability accounting? No, it's not. It's more than that. In the innovation space, there's also the opportunity for you to innovate in a way that solves sustainability issues. So that's the exciting bit around the industries for the past few years.
Yep, I'm interested to understand a bit more on the Foresight Strategy, that phrase. Could you explain it a bit more about that? What does that actually mean?
Hey, only you asking question, is it?
Yeah.
AJ not asking questions, is it?
AJ is controlling our question at YouTube.
Oh, is it? Okay. So, sorry, the question was Foresight Strategy, right? So we were, when I was working for Sustainable Living Lab, and this is not something that I learned while in uni, this is something I learned after. Foresight Strategy, or futures thinking, they call it, is a field of study on how to use the tools and frameworks that are available in futures thinking are used to help organizations, people understand complex issues and also start to plan the immediate future or some long-term future. And then some tools are like an example of it is scenario planning. You have causal analysis. You have what else do you have? Like all these futures related stuff that helps you to not just, because people, what companies usually do is forecast. You have data, you forecast something, you project something, but that doesn't account for elements that are unprecedented. So that doesn't account for a lot of other unpredictable things, or predictable, or like, but it's not within your line of sight, because sometimes what people do is actually just focus on their industry. So they're very like, okay, this is my world and it goes this way. I can inspect the industry to go this way. And like, nah, but if COVID hits, what's the scenario like? And have you created strategies that is robust enough for that kind of future? So this kind of study came about when I was doing my work in sustainability, because when you are doing sustainability, you need to have that kind of ability to do foresight. So I did that study for a few years. I facilitated a lot of futures workshops and programs, and not just in Singapore, but in Indonesia, Korea, many countries. And then I had the opportunity to work on a full project with the Brunei government last year and this year for about 6 to 8 months with the Center for Strategic Planning and Studies or something like that. But essentially it's to understand. So it was on the future of work, for Brunei as a country. So they had their own challenges with their youth, with their people. And it's easy for people to just say like, oh, I'm from the Ministry of Manpower. I see this kind of trends, or I see this kind of like interesting things that will be helpful for my country, and therefore I apply these. I just put a plan out there. But that is, there's that opportunity for you to actually look back on things like what has been the history of how you make decisions, how do you, so there's that element of it. That study, we did an analysis of like different various stakeholders and the assumptions that they have about their future. And then after that, we did workshops later after the study on having them come up with the different plausible scenarios so plausible scenarios in 5 to 10 years time, I think we did around there. And with these kind of scenarios, what is a robust strategy for your country to move forward with? So that future of work would be like, you have like, what you call it, digitalized workforce, AI. How is that? Because some people they get very scared also, right? They need to see future. What do you know about future? If this is determined as the future, therefore I have to do this. So it eases their mind a bit more also. So that's the work with Brunei lah. So alhamdulillah, it ended recently also.
Great.
I've actually got a question.
Better ask. Farah complained already.
I know. Actually, it's on the topic where you actually mentioned about innovation, design, and sustainability. Those are really big words. And as a youth, if I want to delve into something that's related to all three or a specific sector, is there anything that perhaps maybe like the reality of things, like what does innovative or being creative or sustainability means? Like when let's say I were to go out and I want to find a job in this area, what would that be?
I feel like while there are social innovation labs popping up here and there, you can also make your own job. You can also try to understand the problem of sustainability yourself and see where you as an innovator could solve that problem. So let's just say you understand that there's a lot of, and you go to Indonesia and you see that plastic, like not just plastic, waste management systems is really crappy in that country. Or and then you spend some time there to study, to talk to the people, to understand the issue deeply. Then you may have some knowledge about some tech or building knowledge. You know how to build stuff. You can start building there, and you can get the support from other innovators. So I think the space for innovation is really, really wide for the past 8-10 years, because there's open source. There's also networking spaces, maker spaces, innovation labs that you can tap volunteers from. So you can always collaborate with these people. But in terms of a job, You can visit social innovation labs anywhere. There's a lot of startups that are addressing sustainability as well. And yeah, it's very hard to say because it's a nascent industry. And it's, if you want to say it's in industry, there's always like industry standards. There's like an official alliance or like government body or agency or something. I would say that it's so, the lines are very blur right now, and it's also very it's great. So it's the future of work lah, essentially. It's where it's your job is what you love and what you make out of, yeah.
It's interdisciplinary as well,
yeah. So that's why it's also hard for me to say what my job is. So social innovation leader is close lah.
I mean, you can be coming from different fields, because previously when we talked with Mr. Alwi Hafiz, he was coming from engineering and then went into palm oil and then worked sustainability in that
there
area.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's
and you have to be kind to yourself lah. And rather than like, you're let's just say you're a university student, you think that you're supposed to be in this industry, and like frankly, you don't even know whether the industry is going to exist anymore in the next 5 years. So, or the job is even going to exist in the next 5 years. So you do what is more purpose-led than what is available. Yeah, because things change very fast.
Farah, you mentioned about like looking at startups. Are there any few startups that would be good for those who want to venture into this area that they look? Maybe you could share a few like in the market currently.
So Guild, like Ibnur is doing Guild, and then I think he's building a lot of he's doing, I think, robotics for waste collection. If you are like looking to moving overseas and seeing other startups overseas, I think that would be quite exciting as well, because Singapore is a very small country. It's problems get solved very fast, I feel. Like you can understand the problem coming from Singapore, but then again, if you solve the problem, the take up is very fast and you can solve it very quickly. I would like invite people to actually look at how Indonesians are solving their issues, their problems, and then see if you can. Yeah, the startup scene there is also quite vibrant, especially in solving sustainability issues. So agriculture, aquaculture, you can have people building drones and that does analytics for agriculture, and that's very, very that's the future, you see, because food security is going to be a big deal in the next 5-10 years. So yeah, go and look at that kind of spaces. Also very easy for us to work from Singapore and also fly to Indonesia eventually, and that was how it was for the past 5-8 years.
Great. And for, I think, to wrap it up, for youth who are not working in this social innovation or sustainability space, but who, like me, are interested to learn more about sustainability and social innovation, do you have any recommendation when it comes to resources, books for us to read, or website for us to go that can teach us a bit more on the sustainability and social innovation topics?
Okay. I like to go to the Future Center by Forum for the Future, particularly that because it captures signals of change, which is like your driving forces, trends, things that are happening in the world now and will continue to happen in the next 5 years, and then it will affect the way that we live. But they also take a very, as much as they take a very futures angle to it, they also have that sustainability angle to it. So I do read Future Center from Forum for the Future. The one quite comprehensive lah. But also read everything. Don't just read sustainability. Read widely, and you would see.
I think it's like you need to be creative. You need to be like thinking of all the possibilities of solution, right? When we talk about social innovation, that's why I was saying it's something like interdisciplinary. Your brains is all over the place. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. What do you say to the youth who at this stage who are graduating, who are looking for their first job, or those young professionals who are changing jobs, who want to get a little bit more in touch with the sustainability? What would you say to them? Any words of advice or tips for them?
Don't scared, go je. I'm not kidding though. I'm facing a lot. So when I have people approach me, not even like, it just doesn't matter. It's just people who are concerned about their careers, and then they come to me and ask for advice. It's really the underlying thing that I notice is actually just fear of taking that step. And so I say, don't be scared lah. What's the worst that can happen, right? Like, you don't have to leave your job tomorrow. It's just taking that first step to understand what exactly you really want. I mean, even I went through that kind of fear as I stepped out of a position of, like, coming out from an organization that I was very affiliated to for 5, 6 years, and then going solo as a consultant. Knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your niche is, it's quite scary, but don't scared lah, go je. Yeah.
There you go. Don't scared lah, go je, from Farah Sanwari. And I think that's also important if you want to be in this sustainability space or doing works on social innovation, because I think it's about pushing the boundaries, exploring the possibilities. If you do not want to explore some changes, you are scared, then I think you're not really suitable for this kind of line. What you say?
No, I'm not saying that you're not suitable. It is really a journey for everybody, you see.
Yeah.
And I think keeping an open mind, keeping having that, being kind to yourself, to allow yourself to step out of your comfort zone, is that journey that you need to take. So I can't say whether it's your journey or either you cannot or can, but give yourself the right kind of attitude and you'll be fine.
There you go. Thank you so much, Farah Sanwari, for joining us.
No problem.
For those of you, join us for the next session and check us out at tertiary.cc, our Instagram, tertiary.cc. Bye, Farah. Thank you so much.